Here we go, guys. We're live.
Hey,
What's up, y'all?
what's going on?
As we living
Happy Sunday.
in a 90s kind of world. I'm glad I got my
Bro,
keep your head up.
Don't know nothing else.
I don't know the lyrics, so I'm not even gonna act like it.
I don't either.
That's funny, guys.
Hi, Mosey.
Did she say y'all not funny?
She's like, that's funny, guys.
Oh. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Suffering Well. You got the Sibs here. And we just want to have a nice little conversation this Sunday evening. I don't know if everybody else watched it, but last night Jay-Z was interviewed by Van Jones on CNN, and the interview was really, really good. And he dropped a whole bunch of knowledge jewels, just insight from experience that I thought was like really, that I thought was really, really good. Like I was listening, I was like, oh my God. So one of the things that he talked about that I kind of want to talk with you guys about was about reconciliation. He specifically was focusing on reconciliation with his wife. However, like it just made me start thinking about like reconciling these different relationships. And the key point that I took away, he said that change of behavior is the best form of apology. And I was like, when he said that, I was like, oh snap. Like it hit me. So in different ways. And I don't think it's just like romantic relationships, but I think like anytime you say you apologize to someone, like unless your behavior changed, then is that apology like sincere and is it legit?
That's Brandon's stuff, because Brandon said it the other day. He said you can repent, but if you don't turn, like no one. My pastor said it too. She said, "Don't make care about you snotting and crying, saying you sorry." She said, "No, we need some turning of ways."
Well, actually, have you guys ever? So you know they have like the 5 languages profile. It's an apology profile, and it's actually based on your personality type. What type of apology is most impactful to you? So it's like, I mean, I'm sure change of behavior rules, like regardless, but there's like an apology that you can make where it's saying like, I'm sorry for how it hurt you versus like, I'm just sorry for the action I took. Then it's another one where it's like, I'll never do it again, where it really matters if somebody says that versus, I don't know. There's like this whole apology profile. And I thought it was really interesting because I never thought about that. Like there's a certain way that people like to be apologized to. Where for me, it doesn't matter if you say you'll never do it again as much as you realize how it impacted me. Say, Randy, like that really hurt you. I'm sorry because it hurt you, as opposed to like, I'm sorry.
I think that's real. That's real because I think that relationships in general, like they're 2 imperfect people, or sometimes 3. And they and 3 in a sense of friendship.
Oh, I was lost. Like,
say, what got going on right there, bro?
Right.
I was real confused.
Like Chris, what's going on, Chris?
We're about to have a meeting.
Families, like they're imperfect people. They get together and you go through life, and in going through life, you mess up, and you mess up bad. And when you mess up bad, like how you say sorry matters. So that's really interesting. I wish I had created something like that. I bet they're getting paid very well. But yeah, we talked about.
I don't know. I feel some boy about that. Just it's certain ways you can do everything. Like, it's certain ways I like you to cook my dinner. So like based on personality, I like you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I like my dinner lukewarm.
You can just hot. Apologies, love. What else? Appreciation different than love?
Yeah,
that's true. That's true, because you can do that at work. Because the way people feel valued, some people feel valued by recognizing them publicly. Some people feel valued by just sending them a little thank you note. Some people want you to send them an email. Some people want you to give them days off.
Some people want you to tell the whole group.
They do. Some people
the whole world. You need to put it on.
I think I find it a little ironic how we believe the love languages and stuff, but people be like, horoscopes aren't real.
But that's completely different, you clown.
I think you're using generalizations to group people together.
One is a generalization based on who you think you are. One is based on the day that you were born. Completely different.
Same thing.
There be different types of people. Yes, they can be different types of people. But to say that it's based on when you were born, that's
I might be a Scorpio, but
I'm just saying
in horoscopes. I do believe it.
The subject.
All right, they may not be the same thing, but I feel like they similar.
Random fact about horoscopes. Somebody told me because my birthday was born in July, I was gonna be emotional all of 2018 because it was like a red moon, and I was like,
"You're gonna be a what?"
I was gonna be emotional all of 2018 because of the red moon, full moon, or something. Because my birthday was in
red
July.
full moon.
Nah,
all right, so it might not be the same thing,
you're on the cusp though, just like me. So it might not work because I'm like on the cusp with like a Taurus and something else. So some days I'm really a Taurus, and some days I'm whatever else is on the other part of the month.
I'm gonna need y'all.
I call that a conversation to digress.
Yeah,
sorry.
Wait, how long we been on this, John?
Like 10 minutes.
What were we talking about?
So,
give the timer. 20 minutes left.
The original question.
Oh no, that was his name.
Regardless of how a person says they apologize, but the actual act of it. And so, like I said, his whole thing was if you're gonna apologize about something, then it's an action that really needs to be taking place between the two of you, not just the words that you say. And too often, like, we just be like, "Oh, I apologize," or "Oh, I'm sorry." Especially like when somebody died, like you always say you're sorry, and I don't know why. But
I mean, I'm sorry the person died.
I'm not sorry. I said my condolences. I'm not sorry.
I stopped saying I'm sorry. I don't say it no more.
I say I'm sorry.
But I mean, like, even when you hurt somebody, what'd you say, Randy?
I say I'm sorry for your loss because I am sorry for your loss.
What would you prefer them? So what are you saying? Like,
why am I sorry? Because they're now.
It didn't have nothing to do with you though.
I'm sorry.
So why are you sorry?
It's like I feel bad. I feel bad.
Well, say that. Don't tell me you're sorry.
No, that's what it means. I'm sorry for your loss because I think sorry has multiple. Whatever. Let's look up sorry in the dictionary.
Why don't you send your condolences?
It's the same thing.
No,
if you look up
sending my condolences.
It says I'm sorry for your loss.
That mean they right.
What does sorry mean? Because I heard sorry was just a game, and you ain't really saying sorry unless you apologize. You got to say I apologize because sorry is a game.
I'm sure somebody told you that.
Say I'm sorry. I was like, you sorry?
So when you say you're sorry, when you say you're sorry, like, do you
feeling distress, especially through sympathy for someone else's misfortune? So I am sorry for your loss. I feel sympathy with your misfortune.
Your point in saying that, Kevy, was you said you don't like when people say I'm sorry.
No, my point was not about the words, because I think that's where we went down the rabbit hole at the beginning, but more so just about like the changing behavior and that process that we go through when we are sorry or when we apologize, like the actual action of like changing the behavior so that whatever you committed that you then felt you needed to apologize for, that you don't do it again. A really, really hard one, and it's not just be me, but a really, really hard one that I caught myself this morning at church was like apologizing to God for like certain stuff. Like, God, I apologize for X, Y, and Z. And if my behavior hasn't changed, then why am I apologizing to him?
Because you know it's wrong.
So you just apologizing just because you know it's wrong? Like, if you're going to, like, and so this is why that it was really interesting to me, just because, like, not that Jay-Z's words are, like, the gospel, but it just started to make me think about, like, when I do apologize, if I'm, like, genuinely doing it or if I'm like saying it out of like formality or what I think I'm supposed to say, versus like my heart intent is like, you know what, I really wronged you or I offended you, and I really need to change that behavior because it did offend you or it did wrong you.
Do you hurt or offend God? Is that why you say you apologize to God?
Huh?
Do you hurt God? Like, can God be hurt? Is that why you apologize to God?
You hurt him.
I think in your relationships with any person, you can hurt the other person. So I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is there a difference between apologizing and repenting?
It's the new age word for it. Repenting is like ancient biblical days.
I don't know.
But now
isn't repenting changing your behavior?
Right.
That's what I always thought.
Repenting is a changing of direction to turn from
your ways. That's what I always thought.
Yeah. Apologizing doesn't insinuate that I'm going to change. It just means like I apologize. I said some foul stuff I probably shouldn't have, but I'm not going. That's not saying I'm not going to do it again. It just says I apologize for that one time.
I think that it's the same. I think the essences are the same. So when you're talking about saying I'm sorry and repenting, the essence is still the same. You're saying I'm sorry for what I've done. Like I feel bad for it. I don't want to do it again.
Right.
Like
you
like
feel bad. Oh, I'm sorry that I cut you out, but I'm gonna cut you out tomorrow. Like, why you apologize for cussing me out? Then?
I'm not apologizing. That doesn't even make sense. That's not logical.
But no, Jordan just said that.
No, I think you can be sorry for something, but that doesn't necessarily mean. So say I'm trying to think of a valid situation. So say
no, not sorry. You apologize.
Okay, Demi Lovato.
Yo, her new album is good. FYI. Go ahead.
No, I'm really trying to think.
Or are they the same? You can be.
I'm trying to think of a situation where you apologize in the moment, but then you turn around and you do it again. But if
it's on accident,
that's the problem.
Yeah, because just because doesn't mean your first apology wasn't sincere.
But if you did it in the moment,
I think you
apologize for accidents.
That's the prime thing.
Or like because you know what I'm saying? Because I consciously know what I'm doing, I'm going to repent and change. But if I do something on accident, like I just apologize.
Bump you once and I say, oh, okay, I'm sorry, then I bump you again.
Like I apologize.
Yeah,
again.
I don't think the first
it's not
sorry is non-valid. It's not valid because I had to say sorry again.
But it's a heart condition, though. I think that's like the thing. But you apologize for bumping somebody you did on accident, like that. I mean, that's like.
I think it's a heart condition as far as meditated, premeditated, and like accidental.
Yeah.
But if you like, if I bump into you, that's like if you're in a relationship and someone's like, I want you to call me every morning, like, and you didn't call me, but I apologize for not calling you. Like, if you apologize, that means you won't do it again. However, if nobody ever tells you that they wanted
just
to
means
call you,
you're sorry.
But why?
I don't think it means you won't do it again. I mean, like you connect. Like, I'm sorry that I made you. So you wanted something. I apologize that I wasn't able to hold up my end of the bargain. But if I do it again, that doesn't mean that my apology was not valid.
It is because you're apologizing.
I don't think
so. You didn't meet an expectation, right? I'm apologizing because I didn't make
right, which I'm sincerely.
No, I'm not going to meet the expectation. Why am I apologizing? I should just say.
So it's not that you don't know. I think you intend to, but when you don't, like I think, like going back to what Jordan and Brenda said, I think it's the heart condition. Like I think you can intend to call somebody. Like me, I'm terrible with communication. I just accept it in my life. I have every intention,
but you don't apologize for it though.
I do. Yes, every time Grandma calls me mad because I don't call her every week. I'm like, Grandma, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm trying to do better.
You're not that sorry. You're not that sorry. If you're sorry, then you would change.
I do not. I don't think so. I think,
it's okay, Randy. But you're not that sorry. It's okay.
Brandon, you gonna stop trying to tell me how I feel.
Okay.
This is what we gonna learn.
It's okay.
That Brandon gonna try to tell me how I feel every episode. That is not what we're gonna do.
I'm sorry.
No, because I think that's valid. I think Randy's opinion is that you can apologize, and it's about your heart condition in that matter. What happens in the future is what happens in the future. Like if you apologize, if you end up having to apologize.
So what's the intent? What's the intent? Is the intent to
it's in the moment?
I think in that moment.
But that's
in that no, I think the purpose of a
is it a heart condition? The purpose, I don't think that's a heart condition.
An apology is to express like something like I'm empathizing with how you feel about something I did. In that moment, I'm apologizing because I connect with you for that. In that moment, my apologies.
You want to hurt him again in that moment.
So then the next,
do you want to hurt him again in that moment?
Feeling could be different.
Exactly. No, but does that, just because you don't want to, if you end up doing it again, it may not be intentional. If you ended up doing it again, that does not make your first apology non-valid. Now, if you just blatantly say F the last one, then that's one thing. But I think an apology is in that moment, I'm sympathizing with how you feel about an action towards me, and I'm sincerely sorry. I apologize for the way that I'm making you feel. Therefore, I'm going to consider that in the future. But if it ends up happening again, I don't think it makes that first apology non-valid.
I'm not saying we say make it non-valid. What makes it non-valid if you know that you're gonna do it again and you apologize anyway?
Yeah, I never say you know.
Even if
you meditated, like I said.
So we arguing about
premeditated.
Accidental.
I just think.
Been on your forehead.
I personally just think that I want to work on when I apologize for something that I did, that I'm making a conscious effort to not have it happen again.
I think that's how forget like apologies are supposed to work. I don't think you're not supposed to want to do it again. You're not supposed to think that you're going to do it again. I think you can think you're going to do it again. I guess
it shouldn't even be an idea that you're going to do it again. It should be like, nah, I'm making a conscious effort because I knew that bothered you, that offended you. So I don't want that.
I think that takes out of the equation like addictions, right? So I think that there's some cases where you can be very remorseful, but there's addictions that just change everything.
That's why I like the fact that he said it was a change in behavior.
But that's the thing, like addictions, you don't change behavior, right? It's not how addictions work.
I mean, you can.
Then you're not addicted.
But if
you can
you're addicted to something, if you're addicted to something and then you realize that it's wrong and you're like, I need to change this, I'm changing my behavior, and it's no longer the addiction. It's no longer my addiction.
It's not that simple.
Yeah, it got to be some deliverance in there, but
thank you, Randy. It's not that simple. You're not just gonna wake up and be, oh, it's an addiction, but I'm gonna stop doing it tomorrow. That's not how it works. Yeah, it's gonna take like 12 steps? Yeah, 12 steps for you to get yourself out of your addiction.
It takes a lot of
that. I just think that I'm
deliverance.
What?
You talking about deliverance, Kevin?
Happens immediately.
No, deliverance is the process too.
About deliverance. But I just think that we as people tend to use words so loosely, and it's just like love. I mean, we just tend to use words loosely and not really, like, I think, unfortunately, like Randy said, it's in that moment, this is how I feel. And that moment isn't lasting. And so I might feel bad right in this moment, but like, do I really feel bad? Or is it just because you're on my face crying that I feel bad?
So basically what we're getting at is the fact that there's levels of apologies. One is like, yeah, I'm really not gonna do this again. One is right now I don't feel like I'm gonna do this again, but tomorrow I might feel like I'm gonna do it again, but I apologize about it, then I'm good. Like it's playing games. It's playing games.
But it's playing on words. It's just like at the beginning how we were talking about people have preferences to how they would like to be apologized.
And I think it's all a certain type of way. There's a natural apologetic manner.
I think you're making excuses and you're making room for people to be like, well, I feel like this. Like, no, when you apologize, there should be a turning of ways, not like premeditate, unmeditated. That's just what it is.
Wait, that's what you're saying, Jordan?
There's no level. I don't think there's levels like, oh, I'm gonna say sorry, but tomorrow I might do it again. You know, I just think if you really apologize and it's from your heart, unless you're just saying an apology, but if it's from your heart, then I feel like you should be doing something actively to change it.
Wait, that's what I was saying.
And it might not be perfected. Like I might not answer immediately, but maybe I call you right back. Or like it should be some type of progression towards better, but not just like, oh, this same exact thing happens again tomorrow.
Right. But my whole point is even if the original apology insincere. That's my whole point.
It can.
Well, you know it's not.
It can.
Your apology.
It can.
No, because Kevin said, then what are you apologizing for? I think The apology can't
be. What are you apologizing for?
I don't know.
If you're leaving the door open for it to happen again, if you're not making an asserted effort to be different,
if you're not making effort,
then why are you apologizing?
Right. And I think
you need to make steps to answer the phone if you're going to apologize.
I completely agree, but even if you don't, that does not mean the original apology was not valid.
It ain't not valid.
No, I don't think I'm not saying that's not valid.
If it starts off at 100%, then
I think if you're sincere, you should always apologize. And yes, you should make steps. Not 100% sure that you can commit to those steps. You should still, if you feel bad, you should still
Randy,
apologize.
I'm with you, Randy. But then,
bro, just because you feel bad, don't mean.
Hold on. The question becomes, what are you apologizing for?
Because you apologize to express like empathy with the other person for how they feel about your actions. So let's.
But why keep apologizing if you keep doing it?
Go back to the
why are you apologizing for how another person feels? That's on them.
Let's go back. Let's go back to the addiction.
But you keep doing it though.
Let's go back to the addiction thing. So when you're addicted, it's very likely that it'll impact somebody in your family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You feel bad for how that person is impacted by your addiction. I don't know everything, but I'm saying you feel bad for how so and so is impacted by your addiction. I think you can apologize saying, I'm so sorry for how this impacts you. I understand that it hurts you. I understand that it yada yada
this addiction.
But what are you?
No, it's not saying that I'm
apologizing for. It's stupid. I'm addicted to drugs, but I'm gonna apologize to you because I know it hurts you that I'm on drugs. Like, what are you apologizing for? Because you ain't changed.
I think that's the key, Kevin. But that's the key. I think that's the key.
So what is the point of apologizing? What is the point of apologizing to you, Kevin? What is the point of apologizing?
You're missing it. This is the thing. Like, you don't just say
apologizing is me acknowledging my wrong and then saying that I want to change my wrong.
Is that the part? Is that?
I feel like
that's his opinion. His opinion.
I'm clarifying. So that's the point of apology.
Thing. Here, let me ask you this question.
Go ahead, bub.
Thank you. When you apologize, you have to be specific. This is what you're missing. You don't just say I apologize, and the question becomes, my hair's jacked up. What are you apologizing about? That's the question. Are you apologizing? What? Just serious. What are you apologizing about? You have to be specific. If I'm sorry for drinking, I apologize. That's a silly apology because I'm an addict, right? But if you're apologizing for hurting somebody, it is a heart condition. I really don't want to hurt you. I'm gonna try to do what I can not to hurt you again. And then this is what Randy's saying is coming into play with the fact that I'm an addict, so I don't want to hurt you, and I don't intend to hurt you. But when I get in this zone, I don't think about you. So it's not like I'm intentionally trying to hurt you. It's the fact that something else like takes over. Those endorphins, those serotonin, all those happy chemicals, they take over. So I'm not trying to hurt you.
If that's the case, then our flesh is always very present. That's why we got.
I'm not talking about flesh.
But I'm just saying.
So I'm saying addiction. Those are two very different things. Two very different things.
It's something that's still playing on us every single day. Our flesh and our fleshy desires. Okay. So if that's the case.
No. But it's not an addiction, Kevin. Like, an addiction has a very specific scientific definition. Your flesh, you're not addicted. It's not an addiction. Like, it's
your flesh is addicted to certain things.
It's not an addiction.
Addicted. I think it has a natural inclination to certain things, but it's not an addiction.
It's addicted.
No, but it's addicted to sin. So maybe
no, it's not addicted.
An addiction means if you go without it, then you go through withdrawals.
Nigga, your flesh don't go through withdrawals.
No.
Withdrawals are what? So this is the thing. Like, there are some things that your flesh will be addicted to. There are certain things.
Listen.
Go a week without sugar, and then tell me that you felt that withdrawal when not doing something that your flesh wanted to do. Like, really go through something that is a real withdrawal.
So now, like, levels of addiction.
No, because your body literally attacks itself because it's missing something.
That happens.
Your body attacks itself when you don't do something that your flesh wants to do. Your body literally attacks itself.
No, clown, it doesn't. It's not an addiction. I'm sorry, it's not an addiction. There are preferences.
That's inclination.
And it's very specific. Addictions are very specific. It's an action.
I would argue that because I know I've had some addicting fleshly things, and when I go without, my body reacts.
I'm going to sit this one out. I'm sitting this one out.
So
Now.
That was an honest moment. That's the
truth though, because that's your flesh though. It has its own cravings and desires, and we try to withhold them. It'd be like, "What's up?"
But still, there's a difference between like a craving and an addiction. Those are two different things. I can crave something all day.
Whoa, and I was not talking about sex.
You what?
Kevin, why do you even say that?
Because Brandon said a craving.
Is sex the only craving?
Kevin was talking about sex. That's what Kevin was talking about. He's trying to like do that reverse psychology. What was talking about it? I think he was. I think I was on national TV.
Right hand to the man.
So we got approximately 37 seconds left.
All right. Well, since
I think when you
out me, even though it wasn't about sex, Bub, you got something last to say?
I just put this pin right here that when you apologize for something, it is really a turn in direction. And I think that it has to be very specific. I'm sorry for doing this, and I'm trying to not do this again. But I think that when it comes to addictions, and you could be addicted to many different things, but addictions are very specific. And when it comes to addictions, that something else kind of takes over, and you're not you anymore. You're your addiction, and you do. And that's why people who have addictions, they start stealing from their parents. People are addicted to even sell their kids. And because their addiction takes over. So I think that they don't really realize what they're doing. They just kind of like in the moment of addiction.
How you put your in the conversation for addiction, but it was about reconciliation.
So I think that's a
I just need to know how your kids. I want to know how you're addicted to selling your kids, but it's okay.
I didn't say you're addicted to selling your kids. I say you do things that you wouldn't normally do because your addiction takes over. So when your addiction takes over, if I can sell my kids and get $100 and get this heroin, I'm gonna sell my kids and get $100 and get this heroin because that's an addiction.
That's not what I heard you say.
Well, yeah, move your hair.
It's blocking your ears.
Hair is not in the way.
Well, that was this week's episode of Suffering Well. And I hope everyone's suffering.
What are we suffering with? Reconciliation or addictions? Like, I'm confused.
I think we all might be addicted to something. I think that's very possible. But I think we have to suffer and apologize.
Bub.
What? I'm sorry.
He's a doctor. He getting his doctorate. He putting the pins in the conversation. Pin it, Brandon.
Pin here. Pin there.
Ping, ping.
I hope everyone has a great week.
And don't apologize unless you're not gonna do it again.
Yeah, don't apologize unless you're turning away.
Yeah, unless you're addicted.
Unless you have an addiction.
So if you're addicted, you can just keep apologizing. Is that the consensus?
No, you just have to be specific in what you're apologizing for.
So if you're not addicted, do you gotta be specific?
No, I think
always be specific. But if you're addicted, don't apologize for your addiction.
Yes, don't apologize.
Oh, you can't apologize for addiction. Just saying, I'm not going to get addicted to something else.
What?
Bye, guys.
Yes.